The divine root conceives, its source reveal. Mind and nature nurtured, the great Tao is born.
Before the calendars of men, before the gods drew their borders in the clouds, there was only the void. The universe was an egg of chaos, waiting to shatter, and when it finally broke apart, the pure light rose up to become the heavens. The heavy darkness sank down to become the earth. Between them, the oceans rushed in to fill the hollows of the world, and rising from the very center of that ancient, untamed ocean was a single majestic peak, the mountain of flowers and fruit. It is the pillar of the ocean, the root of 100 rivers. Its cliffs are guarded by green phoenixes, its valleys walked by the unicorn. It is a place completely untouched by the endless march of time. And at the very summit of this mountain, resting alone on a cliff closest to the stars, sat a magic stone. It was no ordinary rock. It had been shaped by the breath of the universe itself. It stood exactly 36 feet and 5 inches high, mirroring the 365 degrees of the heavens. It was 24 feet around, echoing the 24 solar seasons of the earth. Upon its surface were 9 hollows and 8 holes, aligning perfectly with the ancient maps of magic and destiny. For ages, this stone sat in unbroken silence. It drank the heat of the sun. It bathed in the cold, silver light of the moon. It inhaled the mist of the sea and exhaled the dust of the stars. Until one day, it cracked. From the shattered shell of the stone, a rock shape emerged. Touched by the blowing wind, it transformed. Flesh formed over magic. Hair sprouted from mineral. And there, crouching in the dust of its own birth, was a stone monkey. He opened his eyes, and as he looked upon the world for the first time, 2 beams of blinding golden light erupted from his eyes. The beams pierced the clouds, tearing straight through the sky, lighting up the golden pillars of the celestial palace, and flashing directly into the eyes of the Jade Emperor on his throne in heaven. The gods panicked. The heavenly generals drew their weapons, looking down at the mortal world, searching for a terrifying monster. But what they saw was only a newborn monkey, bending his head to drink from a stream. As the cool water touched his lips, the golden light in his eyes faded. He was, to the gods, just a beast of the earth, insignificant, dismissed. They did not know they had just looked upon the architect of their future ruin. He did not know who he was. He did not know what he was meant to be. And for a time, he did not care. He walked among the towering pine trees. He learned to run, to leap, to swing from the ancient vines. He dined on wild seeds and drank the dew from heavy lotus petals. He befriended the wolves, the tigers, and the wild apes. His mind was wild, pure, and chaotic. He was completely unburdened by the memory of yesterday or the anxiety of tomorrow. He lived entirely in the present moment, a life without the chains of calendars, without the tyranny of time. One morning, the summer heat grew unbearable. To escape the stifling sun, the monkey tribes sought the deep shade of the broad pines. They played, they swung, and soon they followed the twisting path of a mountain stream, seeking where the water came from. They scrambled over boulders and moss, climbing higher and higher, until they reached a breathtaking sight. Before them was a towering waterfall, a massive sheet of water, roaring down the face of the mountain. It did not look like water. It looked like snow tumbling from the heavens, hanging like a curtain of white jade. It was violent, beautiful, and terrifying. The monkeys sat on the bank, mesmerized by the crashing sea below. One of the elder apes raised his voice. "If anyone has the skill to dash through this waterfall, find its source, and come out with his body unharmed, we shall make him our king." 3 times he shouted the challenge. 3 times the monkeys looked at the violent water and shrank back in fear. Then, from the back of the crowd, the stone monkey stepped forward. He did not boast. He did not hesitate. He simply squeezed his eyes shut, crouched low, and with a single explosive bound, he leaped straight into the roaring white curtain. He expected to be crushed by the weight of the water. He expected to drown. But as he opened his eyes, he found neither water nor waves. He was standing on a bridge of gleaming iron. Beneath it, the water that formed the waterfall surged outward from a hidden spring, flowing through the rock to form the curtain outside. He crossed the bridge and stepped into a world bathed in an otherworldly, glowing light. It was a hidden paradise. There were mansions of stone, stone seats, stone beds, stone tables, and the air smelled of sweet plum blossoms. In the center of the cavern, bathed in a shaft of pale light, stood a massive stone tablet. Carved deep into the rock in grand, ancient writing were 10 words: "The happy land of the mountain of flowers and fruit. The cave heaven of the water curtain." He bounded back to the bridge, closed his eyes, and leaped back through the waterfall. He returned to the shivering monkey tribes outside, shaking the water from his fur. He told them of the paradise waiting behind the veil of water, a place where they would never again suffer the freezing winds of winter or the blazing heat of summer. A sanctuary. Hesitant but desperate, the monkeys followed him. They squeezed their eyes shut and leaped through the roaring curtain. The moment they entered the cave, their awe vanished. They saw the stone bowls, the beds, the tables, and chaos erupted. They scrambled over each other, clawing for the best seat, jumping from bed to bed until they were utterly exhausted. It is the nature of the unrefined mind. Give it paradise, and it will immediately tear it apart, looking for a place to sit. The stone monkey watched this chaos from the highest seat in the cave. Slowly, he stood. The cave fell violently silent. "Gentlemen," he said, his voice echoing off the iron bridge, "a man who lacks trust can accomplish nothing. You said that whoever could enter this waterfall and return unharmed would be your king. I have entered. I have returned. I have brought you to a hidden estate where you may rest and raise your young. Why do you not honor your word?" The monkeys looked at each other. The chaos drained from their eyes. Slowly, one by one, they folded their hands, fell to their knees, and bowed their heads to the stone floor. Great king, for 10,000 years. And on that day, the stone monkey took his throne. He hid the word stone from his title. From that moment on, he would be known only as the handsome Monkey King. 300 years passed. 300 years of perfect, unbroken peace. They feasted on sweet peaches. They drank from pure springs. They danced under the moon and slept in the warm shade of the cavern. It was a perfect world until the day of the great banquet. The handsome Monkey King sat at the head of the feast, surrounded by his laughing subjects, holding a cup of sweet wine. But as he looked at the joyous faces around him, a sudden, crushing weight fell over his chest. The cup slipped from his fingers. It shattered on the stone floor. Before the entire assembly, the invincible, carefree Monkey King buried his face in his hands and began to weep. The monkeys froze in terror. They rushed to his feet. "Great King, what troubles you? We live in the blessed land. We are free. Why do you weep?" The king wiped his eyes, staring blankly into the cavern. "We are happy today. We are not subject to the laws of men. But in the future, we will grow old. Our blood will run cold. Secretly, Yama, the king of death, waits for us. When our time is up, we will be dragged into the underworld. What is the point of all this joy if in the end we simply become dirt?" A heavy silence fell over the water curtain cave. The terrifying reality of death had breached their paradise. But then, from the ranks of the elders, a single gray-furred ape stepped forward. "Great King," the ape said softly, "to have such a thought means your mind is waking up to the truth of the universe. It is true, death claims all creatures. But there are three kinds of beings who are not subject to the King of Death. They live as long as heaven and earth." The Monkey King's eyes locked onto the elder. "Who are they?" "The Buddhas, the immortals, and the holy sages." "Where do they live?" "They live in the world of men, across the southern ocean, in the ancient lands." The Monkey King stood up. The sorrow in his eyes was gone, replaced by a burning, terrifying focus. "Tomorrow," he declared, "I will leave you. I will build a raft. I will cross the oceans. I will wander to the corners of the earth until I find these immortals. I will learn the secret to eternal youth, and I will erase the name of every monkey here from the ledgers of death. He is leaving behind a paradise, a kingdom of endless fruit, total freedom, and eternal play. And for what? For fear of something that hasn't even happened yet. It makes one wonder, fellow travelers, is the pursuit of immortality born from the ultimate love of life? Or is it simply the ultimate fear of the unknown? The Monkey King chose to abandon a perfect present because he could not control the future. Does true peace come from accepting our end, or from defying the gods to escape it? I leave that to the scholars. The next morning, the monkeys gathered on the shore. They had lashed together dry pine logs to make a raft. They loaded it with bamboo baskets of fruit and gourds of fresh water. The handsome Monkey King stood alone on the flimsy wood. He held a simple bamboo pole. He did not look back. With a single thrust, he pushed off the shore. The tide caught the raft, violently pulling it away from the mountain of flowers and fruit. Soon, the mist swallowed him. He was alone, a tiny speck of defiance floating out into the terrifying, roaring expanse of the great ocean. He was sailing into the realm of men, a realm of greed, magic, and hidden gods. But the ocean is vast, and the immortals are deeply hidden. What horrors and wonders await the king on the mortal shores? If you are curious how he survived the crossing, or what he found on the other side, listen to the next chapter.
很慢，上演一层一层封闭着皮肤的心跳，闭上在疼，都不在眼里想。当一笑又一笑，影子拉得很长，像梦不现实。生命，它也是行为，还做到别人从后不会不会。 都知道这两者为敌。在一生能量还在我心中，你那爱我是了仇。你压裂出心为爱做到别走，会不会都知道这两者为敌。在一生能量还在我心中，你那爱我是了仇。路对路，影对影，夜太深，梦太近，灯火闪，心发烫，一步错，万步狂。不是花才会痛，不是风也会冲，山在转，人在蹦，为你忘了全都痛。压裂之心为爱做到别走，会不会都知道这两者为敌。在一生能量还在我心中，你那爱我是了仇。压裂之心为爱做到别走，会不会都知道这两者为敌。在一生能量还在我心中，你那爱我是了仇。